welcome. Really want to welcome all of our attendees today, and we hope you'll learn something interesting. I know you will, because we've got a great panel of folks for a discussion. I'm John Dauphiné. I'm the CEO of the Foundation for Financial Planning, and this is part of our series of webinars to try to bring insight and information to pro bono financial planners, to our nonprofit partners, and to others in the field that can benefit. Today's session is being recorded, so we will be having it posted to our site afterwards if you have to leave early, and so we can share it with others who might not have been able to attend today but are interested in the content. For those who may not know sort of the definition of pro bono financial planning and advice, we thought it would be important just to kick off with that. We know that it's something really special, that it goes beyond, financial literacy, which is important, into something deeper and we think more impactful. Pro bono financial planning and advice, it's confidential, it's interactive, it results in personalized guidance to the client and actionable guidance as well. And we see it taking place both in one-on-one sessions most often, but also small group workshops that are interactive and where there's a lot of opportunity to interact with a pro bono advisor. The different programs out there can be a one-time engagement with the advisor and the client, sort of a triage, if you will, and often this will happen at a type of financial assistance clinic, but also multiple touch. It could be 3 to 5 meetings between planner and client, or something much more intense, perhaps a weekly meeting in a financial mentorship role for 6 months or even longer. So there's a variety of different types of programs, and all of them have quite an extraordinary level of impact. Just as housekeeping today, we're going to ask that you put your questions in the Q&A tool, and we'll try to get to all of them. And if we can't, we will follow up. So just in case we can, I want you to know that we will follow up. We're also going to try to hold the last 5 or 10 minutes for a bit of a demo of our tool called probonoplannermatch.org. And this is really a matching tool so that CFPs can register, browse volunteer opportunities, and nonprofits can post opportunities. And we want to make that match. And I'm really proud to say we've just had our 1,000th registrant. So we're seeing this grow, which has been really great. I want to thank our panel, and we've got some great folks today. I'll introduce everyone. First of all, I want to introduce my colleague, Rachel Roth, who will be moderating. Rachel is our Director of Grants and Programs and an indispensable part of our team. And then I want to introduce Ann Leland Clark. Ann is the Financial Capability and Learning Director with Prepare and Prosper, which is an FFP grantee in the Twin Cities out in Minnesota. And she's she has done a nationally recognized tax time savings campaign, a volunteer-based financial coaching program, and she is also designed an emerging financial access and reach financial inclusion initiative. So we'll be eager to hear about that. I'm also delighted to welcome Kristen Pugh. Kristen is a certified financial planner and a private wealth manager. She works directly with her clients on all matters of planning, but she has a special passion for pro bono financial planning. And indeed, she is the chair of the Pro Bono Advisory Committee of the National Financial Planning Association. And she is also president of the Georgia chapter of the FPA. So welcome, Kristen.
Thank you.
Also working intensely with the FPA chapter in Metro New York is Robert Hernandez. And Robert is currently chair of that chapter and has he's a certified financial planner as well, and has a long history of trying to bring financial planning and advice to all people, underserved or not, and indeed was the pro bono director for the chapter a couple years ago. And then lastly, Alli Midwinter, also hailing from the Twin Cities. And Alli is instrumental in the financial cancer care program for the Angel Foundation, an FFP grantee out there that serves patients and families facing a serious cancer diagnosis. And I really want to doff my hat to Alli, because during the pandemic, she was able to get the program up and running and serve more than 100 patients with this vital service. So congratulations, Alli. Great. Well, without further ado, Rachel, let's turn to you and dive into our panel.
Sure. Thanks so much, John. And welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very much looking forward to Alli, Kristen, Ann, and Rob, who have all made such a big impact in their communities through their pro bono financial planning programs. I thought that we could start off by just learning more about the program. So maybe we can start with Alli. Can you tell us about your program and who you serve?
Absolutely. So I work with the Angel Foundation. We're a Twin Cities-based nonprofit whose mission is to support local adults with cancer and their families. Through our financial cancer care program, we pair individuals affected by cancer in Minnesota with a pro bono certified financial planner to help create a long-term financial plan to address their financial concerns and make a plan to achieve their financial goals. So prior to matching with a CFP, I meet with all clients to discuss resources in the community, lay out the program, and discuss necessary questions for the clients to consider to provide some direction for their meetings with their planner.
Thanks, Alli. Ann.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here. I work for Prepare and Prosper. We're a nonprofit, as John said, based in Minnesota with Alli. And we are focused on financial health in Minnesota. The most of our work is in the Twin Cities metro area, but we do some statewide work. We're celebrating our 50th year, hence the 50 behind me. And while we are best and longest known for providing free tax programs through the VITA program, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, we also offer financial coaching and financial products through our Money Mentors and our Fair Financial Inclusion program. In a normal non-COVID year, we have 550 plus volunteers who reach 12,000 low moderate income families with those free tax preparation, financial coaching, and financial inclusion programs. We have a long-standing 12 plus year, precedes me, I've been here for 10, partnership with our local Financial Planning Association of Minnesota, where we have developed and deepened our partnership.
Thanks, Ann. Kristen.
Yeah, thank you. And kind of just to dovetail on what Ann was saying, we typically will partner at the FPA of Georgia with other nonprofits and other charitable organizations that represent those who need financial planning and literacy the most. And case in point, one of our, I would say, I don't want to say most profitable, but I would say the organization that we've really been able to partner with over the last couple of years that we've helped to reach the most people is through the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation. They've been extremely just helpful and a true partnership in that they've been able to help us to get on board with Zoom, one-on-one workshops, one-on-one sessions, workshops to a broader audience, as well as those who need more, extended planning needs, where we partner and match them up with other planners for a short-term planning engagement. So that's typically how we will work and partner with those in the community.
Thanks, Kristen. And Rob.
Good afternoon. At Metro New York, we have several relationships with non-for-profits. Some of them, for example, I can give some examples. We have a great relationship with the Financial Empowerment Center in New York City, which helps to close the wealth gap for underserved communities. We also have a fantastic relationship with the WISE program, which is with Financial Trust, which aims to help support women, people, not just women who are suffering from domestic abuse, domestic violence. They go to the center in order to help establish, to help get a lifeline to folks who can help them with one of the key things, which is to address some of the financial abuse and take the next steps to move forward independently. And then some other relationships with helping those who may be dealing with disabilities. Fantastic program there, helping to support a good cause for that nonprofit as well. So yeah, we go across many different nonprofit clients in New York City, and fantastic to help serve our community here in the city.
Thanks, Rob. So you all talked a little bit about how your programs complement other supports and programs that your organization offers. And can you talk a little bit more about why you started the Pro Bono Financial Planning Program and how it might complement some other programs that Prepare and Prosper offers?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So our partnership, well, I said it's been 12 years and maybe even more because it precedes me. We really have leveled up. I just have to shout out to the Foundation for Financial Planning for supporting us to level up that partnership. It went from what was a little more on the passive side, where we were showing up to the chapter meetings, recruiting volunteers, tabling, getting in front of the crowd, recruiting volunteers, to now a much more like we have a system, it's integrated, and we have a deeper relationship. So what does that look like? This more thoughtful, integrated partnership is that our expertise, as I said, our expertise lies in free tax prep, financial coaching, and connecting people to bank accounts, right? We're not financial counselors, we're not financial planners, and we're not gonna add services when there are experts in the community to do such things. So rather, we complement or supplement these programs that we offer through partnerships with FPA Minnesota. Shout out to Bruce Lorenz, who I notice is on the call, and our statewide financial counseling agency, the NFCC certified financial counselors in our state, which is Lutheran Social Services in Minnesota. And so we see our programs taking a place along a continuum of care, not unlike the healthcare system, frankly. P&P, like we see tax time, for example, is that annual checkup equivalent where it's a near universal inflection point where Americans can get their financial pulses checked at that annual money moment. Not unlike our healthcare system, our financial system is complex with a lot of actors, products, systems that are really hard to navigate. And like the healthcare system, we leave it on the consumer to do the navigation. And so what we've done is we've tried to mitigate this complexity by developing a financial continuum of care to provide our organizational partners and our community and our customers to help them navigate the differences between financial counseling, coaching, planning, education, inclusion. Because I will say, even the experts in our field struggle with defining these concepts. So we offer a customer-facing, we developed through this partnership with Foundation for Financial Planning, we've developed a self-assessment triage tool for our customers and our programs and our volunteers, where people can navigate between these differences between counseling, coaching, planning, and inclusion. And so I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna just preview the financial, I'm gonna share my screen and preview this financial inclusion tool and then drop it in the chat to show you what it looks like. We've developed it on our website. We have organizational partners who have integrated it on their website. So essentially, off our website, you can find this financial continuum of care that essentially is a customer-facing assessment tool where people can navigate between planning, our own financial coaching program, our partners who do financial counseling, our own bank accounts, and then we do have another agency that refinances payday loans, so we added them on there. So I want to just highlight the example of financial planning because that's why we're here today. So we have, this is customer facing, but if it's customer facing, practitioners and partners can use it too. And so if people see themselves in these statements, they can go directly to a referral form to be routed to pro bono financial planners that are behind our pro bono committee of the Financial Planning Association. So that is one example of how we do it at Prepare and Prosper. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thanks so much, Anne. Yeah, Alli, and can you add a little bit about how your financial planning program complements other services that Angel Foundation provides to cancer patients and their families?
Absolutely. So we've been in the community for about 20 years here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, and we saw a need for it. Through our other two programs, we have a grant program that serves patients and families under the 200% federal poverty level, which for reference, a family of four would be about $35,000 a year. We provide grants for basic living needs for rent, utilities, fuel and food gift cards, amongst a few other things. And then our other program is a child and family support program through camps, monthly activities, therapeutic activities to help kids understand a cancer diagnosis, communicate with others in the community in an age-appropriate and fun way. So we created the Financial Cancer Care Program, launched just 2 days before Minnesota's lockdown order, because of the financial toxicity related to cancer. Because so many patients, in our research, we found that 73% of cancer patients in the United States are affected by financial toxicity. They are nearly 3 times more likely to file for bankruptcy. And about 38% don't fill their prescriptions or skip their prescriptions because they have to choose between putting food on the table for their family or taking their medication. And these are choices we know no one should have to make, but they're being made every day in the United States. So we started this program to try and help with a solution to meet that need of those in our community. We expanded our financial requirements for it to make sure that those in all income levels have access to this program, to be able to create a more sustainable future for their family and be able to manage those medical bills that come in when you have 6 or 7 and you're trying to figure out which to pay first and you're just overwhelmed. So having someone come in, organize your finances, and help you get some to-dos in place just has made a huge difference in what we've seen so far in this first year. So we're happy it's been a good first year and we're going to keep providing it.
Thanks, Alli. And just to add some research that's been done by another Foundation for Financial Planning grantee, the Atrium Health Living Cancer Institute, has found that financial planning as part of a range of interventions does have an effect on survivorship levels and quality of life for patients with cancer. So it's really important what you're doing. We're very proud of that. Kristen and Rob, can you talk about how you connected with the nonprofit organizations that you're working with, and how you feel financial planning adds to the services that they provide?
Yeah, and I'll just speak specifically on Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, and we'll talk a little bit more about building that pro bono partnership group that you want to work with. But basically, we were introduced to them because they saw all the great work we were doing with other organizations that they partner with. So you'll quickly find, if you've not already, that all of these organizations, even the ones that are on this call today, we all know each other, and we lean on each other for support and for other needs, information sharing, everything. So chances are, if you're looking to partner with an organization, you can typically go through an existing one that you already have. So word of mouth really brought us to Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation. And another tip is, you want a captive audience. So it's much easier to affect change and to help a group of people that are already keyed into another organization's purpose. So with AVLF, they help to provide legal services for more or less tenants' rights issues in the city of Atlanta. So we have a lot of people, especially when you think of the lack of affordable housing. The affordable housing that is available is not great quality, and so you have a lot of people that are coming to their landlords for like mold remediation, eviction issues, things that really can just wipe somebody out financially, right? And so very similar to these more or less interventions, one type of instance of getting evicted or having cancer or can just wipe you out financially. And so we're here to really just help in that regard and to more or less help in that cycle of poverty. Because if it's one thing, then it goes to another thing, and then it's another, and it's another. So a lot of times our advisors or our planners are counseling, once you're out of this, emergency situation that AVLF is getting you through, then what's next? Then we're talking about building emergency funds. We're talking about how important your credit is. And we're really coaching them to get out of the current living situation they're in what's really great about partnering with this organization is that the volunteer coordinators are really, really forward thinking, and they will request, the information ahead of time from the individuals that want to meet with a planner. So what are your goals? And I would say probably about 50 to 60% of our clients that we meet with during these Saturday sessions come to us with thoughts of, well, I want to own a house. What's the next step? So if you can imagine, we can be there and kind of be that ear, but then we can also be the voice of reason and talk through kind of what they can expect in that next step of their lives as soon as they get out of this crucial one right now.
Thanks, Kristen. Rob, how did you get involved, or how did your chapter get involved with WISE and Bedford-Stuyvesant and the Financial Empowerment Center?
Yeah, our chapter has a long history, a well-known history of nonprofit support. Our pro bono activity has gone back, I think they originated, here's the storytelling part, they go back to actually 9/11. I think that was actually the foundation, the original beginning of the pro bono committee, where we were really helping support those who were severely affected by the 9/11 tragedy. And through that, we continue to expand our support and developing a good reputation with our within the nonprofit community, where many nonprofits would come and seek our support of CFPs, particularly where they have clients who, it's not a question of necessarily looking to triage necessarily some basic like money issues. We would encounter that people were just struggling for building wealth, and so they needed the help with from our financial planners really help them get sorted and started on the path towards building wealth. With our relationship with Restoration Corp, which is one of the financial empowerment centers, they have a number of financial counselors on site which serve the Bedford-Stuyvesant community. And they're always referring clients to us because they need added support where the financial counselors can't necessarily help, which is more in line with what we expect from a CFP. So those, helping with understanding investment decisions, asset allocations, tax questions, things of that nature. So we have expanded our relationship and with the Restoration Corp, so that where we actually have where we conduct presentations and a lot of one-on-one counseling for that community. And sorry, that's my dog listening, asking for attention here. So
thanks, Rob. And so we've heard a number of examples of ways that pro bono financial planners can help lower income clients. We've heard budgeting, and we've heard helping with the home buying process. We've heard with some, retirement decisions and asset allocation. We love to hear more. I think some of the nonprofit practitioners on this call and some of the financial planners are interested in how serving low to moderate income clients might be different from serving more affluent clients. Alli and Ann, can you provide a few more examples?
I can jump in on that first. A lot of our volunteers are new since we're about a year old now. And a lot of them say, this isn't my day-to-day stuff. And sometimes it's can I add value to somebody who's not consulting on investments? The same questions our patients have as they go in. But when you think about those basic financial skills, it's talking about consolidating your retirement funds, asking basic questions about Roth IRAs, what they are, 401ks, life insurance. Many people are creating a budget for the first time in their lives. So there's great tools through the FFP and our local FPA chapter to each of our clients fill out a spending plan current financial worksheet to work on those things. And I do want to share one testimonial that really illustrates the impact of what financial planning can have on someone who is just completely overwhelmed by the financial costs of cancer amongst all of the other things they're managing as they go through treatment. So one of our participants had this to say: when I was first diagnosed with breast cancer, my world spun out of control. Panic set in. Every doctor's visit was a whirlwind of information. I couldn't keep up. I'd never really been sick or on any medications my entire life, so this was devastating for me. Juggling 6 to 7 doctors at once, mounting medical bills, I was completely overwhelmed. so overwhelmed that I actually planned and paid for my funeral. I was diagnosed in October 2020 with a $4,800 out-of-pocket max due at the end of the year, facing another $4,800 out-of-pocket max on January 1st of 2021. While looking radiation treatment in the face, I was overwhelmed. I drained my savings account to pay the $4,800 due in 2020 with no real plan for 2021. I sat on the couch staring at the bills, wondering exactly how I was going to afford being this sick. Once the Angel Foundation set me up with the pilot program, I immediately felt more in control. I met with a financial planner 2 times, and that is when I really began to understand I can do this. We discussed my income, spending, where my priorities with money should be. I had a plan, I felt in control, and I wasn't afraid anymore. I was confident I could do this with a little knowledge and advice. Today, I'm doing better financially than I was prior to my cancer diagnosis. I'm in control of my finances with goals and a workable plan. I'm so happy I participated and made a world of difference to me. I find it so important to let those participating speak for themselves. So we've seen just amazing results by working on really basic items.
Thank you so much, Alli. I love hearing those testimonials, and yeah, really appreciate that. Anne, how do you collect information from clients, and what are some of the primary topics that you find the pro bono financial planners helping them with?
Yeah, we've really worked with, like, over the years, like when I started, we were offering financial planning in our tax clinics, and like our customers were not, it wasn't working. Like, we learned through failing, you know, and it was because it was too vague, right? It was, and then there was this feeling of, it's not for me, I can't afford it, you're out of reach. And so we've learned to, as Alli just mentioned, like, we've learned to get specific on certain topics, and we've worked with we happen to be very privileged to have somebody that has been, frankly, has preceded me, Steve Gilbertson, shout out, who is part of the Financial Planning Association, helped that he was the president for a while to leverage, you know, his relationship. And so he's our liaison between the Pro Bono Committee and Prepare and Prosper. He's a volunteer financial coach. He knows us well. So that's really served us well. But we've learned over the years to get specific and in our referrals. And I mean this for our own coaching program and for financial counseling. You know, we were just sending people for financial counseling, and they're saying, no, we need people that are focusing on credit card debt and student loan debt and home ownership. And so we got specific with our financial counselors. We got specific with our financial planners, and we're focusing on retirement planning and retirement distribution options, life insurance, inherited assets, college savings planning. So these, like, we've gotten really specific, and not only for our planners who have that expertise and training behind that pro bono committee to respond to those things, but the customer, like, it was too vague to talk about financial planning. And so to get specific for a customer to see themselves as, oh, that's a financial pain point or goal I want to work on. And so it feels like that's helped tighten and make our referral relationship more effective. To get specific, in terms of demand, I looked at our list of topics and our referral form, and really retirement, number one, was super popular, and life insurance is big. And as you can imagine, college, you know, savings plan for children, less people are parents, you know, so we've really seen those, and inheritances, that's a more rare occurrence. So just get specific is what we've done. And we know, for example, we do budgeting in our financial coaching program. We don't need to send our customers to do budgeting with a financial planner. So I think that we've just used our relationship with our pro bono volunteers to narrow the scope. And so customers can see themselves and identify themselves as, oh, financial planning is right for me.
Thank you. Kristen or Rob, any other common issues or financial planning topics that you feel come up a lot in your engagement?
I mean, it depends on the organization that you partner with. So, you know, we, you know, have a wide range of different organizations. You know, for instance, we just started a pilot program with the Department of Human Services for Georgia, the state of Georgia, and we're just testing it out, but we are working with individuals who have, let me get this right, who have, oh gosh, they're I guess they're back, they owe child support. Sorry, I couldn't get that out. They owe child support. And so they are having to go through the system of, you know, paying this back, having this debt associated with them, as well as other, you know, mounting debt. So, you know, it just really depends. But I would say typically we're seeing, and especially with COVID, you know, student loans, trying to understand, well, we know this is eventually I'm going to have to start paying this back. What am I going to do? Questions, as well as credit, to me is like the evergreen, you know, topic, because it ekes into every aspect of your financial life. It's the topic, but that people don't even realize it's the topic they need to be talking about. So we think of it as something basic, but a lot of times it comes out in that quote kind of discovery when you're speaking with someone for the first time that, oh, we should really focus on our credit, and then we'll get into everything else. But I think we touched on a lot of the topics that we would typically see.
Anything else to add, Rob?
I would agree with Kristen, very similar in terms of what we encounter in terms of the types of support that we provide to you know, our pro bono clients. I mean, I would just add in that, you know, what we think is simple or easy or straightforward. And we come from that mindset that we are in this industry. So, and you know, what I think we've trained or teach our newer pro bono CFP, you know, CFP volunteers is to have an open mind and understand that not everyone's going to be at that same level, and just realize that you may get questions that may be simple, but you know what, these are things that are very important and maybe stopping people from taking the next step. And it's our mission to help them get unstuck. So
thank you. Can you talk a little bit about how you recruit clients? We've heard here that some clients think it's not for me, financial planning is for wealthier people. How do we address that challenge or that barrier?
I mean, I think you said one thing important was, you know, the term financial planning can push people away, because you're like, I don't have finances, so yeah, I don't need financial planning.
Yeah.
It's using terms, and we, again, like Rob said, you know, we have to remember our jargon. And so it you know, using terms like financial planning can be, you know, not a good way to explain. Maybe say things like money management, you know, we're going to talk about cash flow, you know, something that will, you know, have a, I guess, create a foundation of trust early on. And so I think that's one thing that you can do, is really just remember your jargon and really take a step back. And it's a balance too, right? Because, you know, we have a lot of information, we know a lot, and we have, just like in our, what I call our for-profit lives, you know, we're meeting our clients where they are. And we don't know where they are in a pro bono world. Sometimes I talk to clients that have, you know, that have everything. They've set up everything, and they're just asking just to kind of tweak. They just want to know, well, how much should I do for my 401k? Or, you know, I'm thinking about maxing this out or adding to this account. Which is the better one? You know, it's not that emergency intervention of, you know, we got to get you resources, and then we can talk about budgeting, and then we can talk about saving. You know, sometimes you just meet people at different places. So just to remember, you know, you don't know where they are coming from. And then to remember your language to, you know, match with that.
Any others?
You know, Kristen, you took the words right out of my mouth. I always say we have to meet them where they're at. Even sometimes when you just want to help someone so much and get them the tools and skills, it might not be what they're ready for yet. And that's a really important thing to remember when you're running a program like this. Especially with our demographic of cancer patients. I mean, facing treatment, you hit a treatment that just hits you in the face, and you can't focus on finances in that moment. So what we've seen, first, we have some really strong allies in our healthcare provider community. Since we've been established with our grant program, we've been able to combine our applications to get more visibility, and we've had some great healthcare provider allies, as well as an internal referral process within our foundation. One of the most beautiful things I've seen as far as referrals go is we'll have someone I'll talk to, and they'll be interested, then communication will drop off. And dropouts, of course, happen. You have to expect them, or else you're going to be really disappointed. Yep. But then I get a message 5-6 months later saying, okay, I finished that rough round of
I'm
treatment,
ready.
but
Yeah.
if it's still available, could I participate? And I am more than happy to get people started. So it's a huge reminder to meet them where they're at, and you have to be flexible.
Yeah, and patient too, right? You know, because
Yes.
sometimes, like you said, people drop off, and you're like, "What'd I do?" And then it's like, "No, it's not you." You know, people will come back around when they're ready, and that's the thing.
Exactly.
Anybody, again, I always say, for-profit, nonprofit wise, people, when they want to talk about finances, when they want to talk about money, they'll be ready to do it. You can't make people, you know, go on this journey. Like, they're ready when they're ready, and then you're there to help them.
One question, Rachel, that's come in is, do you have to be a CFP to volunteer? And so that's a nuanced question, actually, because for some programs that FFP funds, you either have to be a CFP or you can work in conjunction with the CFP, and often that's in place so that a CFP candidate can get their experiential requirement. So I know we have a couple grantees who have that model, and I think Kristen mentioned shadowing as well. But for some of our other programs and for our pro bono planner match platform, you do have to be a CFP, just because we don't have the staff or the capacity to vet each volunteer for all of their experience and ethical training and the like. And we know that the CFP mark has requirements related to all that. And then we also offer insurance, as does FPA, for CFPs that volunteer with our grantees or connect to opportunities through our platform. And so in order to qualify for that insurance, you must be a CFP in good standing. But I think there's also been some questions about maybe for Kristen, you know, FPA's policies around, you know, can you volunteer without being a CFP? Maybe Kristen, if you could just talk a little bit more about your shadowing process.
Yeah, and you know, we didn't start doing the shadowing, you know, from the gate, but we did find, and I even posted this in the chat, that our shadow slots fill up faster than our CFP slots. So there is a need out there, which is, or an abundance out there of volunteers, which is so awesome. So if you are a chapter leader, definitely you want to open those spots up, because you are just pushing out the good word of pro bono, and you're getting people involved early. It's a great thing. But to answer the question, that is what we do. We have established CFPs. And so, for instance, if we're in a Zoom session right now, we go to a breakout room, it's going to be your CFP, your shadow, and then it's going to be the client. And from the beginning, they know that they're going to be with two people, because it's been communicated to them ahead of time, just like we've solicited the goals and what they want to achieve from the session. And I'm speaking about the AVLF. You know, when it comes to workshops, we typically want a CFP to present that workshop, but we will have volunteers available to, you know, be there for Q&A, and those can be non-CFPs. That's totally fine. So we really just tried to make it just easier for people to volunteer, and because that's what they want to do, and that it's that one-on-one, it's those you know, nuances of how you talk about things, the little sound bites that we all pick up when we go to conferences or when we sit in other meetings. That's what these students of the CFP really want, and that can be gained with pro bono. It can be gained through, you know, your work experience, getting those apprentice hours. That's the whole point, is to apprentice, to listen. And so we really try to accommodate that in setting up separate volunteer slots when you're matched up with the CFP. And we use like Sign Up Genius, just FYI.
Yeah, this brings us to the question of volunteer recruitment. Can you talk a little bit more about how you recruit pro bono financial planners to serve your clients or customers? Alli, can you start?
Okay. The best thing I can say is you have to set up some really solid partnerships in the financial planning community. What we knew from the start is we were established in the cancer community. We could get the client referral process started. That wasn't our bigger concern, but we needed to align ourselves with people who had been doing this for years, they were doing had the templates, the resources, and the guidance for us to create a successful program. So first of all, as you all know already, we're a grantee with the Foundation for Financial Planning. They got us set up on their pro bono planner match, which has been able to line us up with quite a few CFPs. So if you aren't signed up yet, I heavily encourage you to. Second, our FPA of Minnesota is amazing. Truly, they have resources. They've been doing this for years. If we have a question, we can pass it along to them, and we're always well taken care of. And then additionally, we have a presenting sponsor with Ameriprise Financial. They've provided over 60% of our volunteers this first year, and have just been an outstanding partner as well. So we've been really lucky to just have, I can't say enough, amazing partners in the financial planning community to make sure that we're making sure volunteers are comfortable, they feel that they're in compliance of participating in this program and well taken care of.
Thanks, Alli. And yeah, FPA of Minnesota is a great chapter, very committed, dedicated to pro bono. And I know that you work with them as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key, is having that partnership. You know, we've been going to annual meetings and had connections with, again, it didn't hurt that my early days, the presidents were volunteers of Prepare and Prosper. And so like they knew our work. They put us in front of planners at chapter meetings, like casually in the lobby and in the audience to make pitches. And so that's something we've been doing. And then when you have financial planners in, you work with them, they're your best allies to work within the firms and do recruitment within the firms that they work at, large, small, you know, it doesn't matter. And I will say the advent of Pro Bono Planner Match just like leveled it up.
Yeah, and thank you so much for saying that and plugging our new platform. At the end of this webinar, I'm going to do a little overview of it for people that aren't familiar with it. Kristen and Rob, what do you do to recruit volunteers to?
In New York, we do a fair bit of arm twisting. No, just I think it's two sides to the coin there, how to solve that in terms of finding volunteers. One is we are always on an ongoing and active stance of promoting pro bono within our chapter in all the events that we do, so that it has visibility across the chapter that there's always support needed for new volunteers. The other thing is that you really have to go and ask, right? So whether that is on a one-on-one basis or in a small group, I'm not shy in asking if, hey, have you volunteered for pro bono before? Yes, no, you haven't. Oh, you're missing out. That's fantastic experience. Let me tell you what you could do there. And if they have, I find out, well, when was the last time they had a volunteer experience? And if it's been a while, I encourage them to come back and say, hey, listen, we've got some fantastic partners and some needy people. We'd love to count you in to see if we can come do one-on-one session. You approach it that way and very specific and very direct, and then you're very successful in getting volunteers. We also try to encourage folks when they first join the chapter as well to take on a volunteer opportunity, because there's always, it's always best to get them when they're young, right? And young in the chapter, I guess, to start seeing that we have a big pro bono heart within the New York chapter. Now, the other side of the coin is that in doing so, in asking the volunteers to commit their time, we try to make sure that they have an enjoyable and fruitful experience, which means that we need to work with with our nonprofit partners to make sure that things are as smooth as possible, that they're able to provide the clients that they say they're going to provide, and the needs are there, so that the experience for the volunteer is as smooth as possible. And that's the least that we can do. Wouldn't want to ask someone to volunteer and suddenly find out that, they were matched up with someone and you were waiting for them and they didn't partake, in the call or something like that. And we understand that happens, but we want to make sure that our nonprofit partners can actually deliver on that commitment. So if you're saying that we are actively going out and getting the volunteers, they need to provide the clients in many ways that we can work with.
And related to that, what are some tips for managing the program? I know matching the volunteer with the client is a big component of the program. Also making sure that the volunteers are prepared. any tips for making sure that everyone has all the information that they need and are set up for success?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the work is done on the front end when you are setting up, quote, the engagement with the nonprofit partner. You want to be clear about what the expectation is for what they're providing, just as much as what we're providing. So for instance, if we want them to set up the Zoom sessions, you know, or if we would like to use their building for, you know, the workshop, or, you know, we want to make sure that that's there from the get-go, and then we agree, you know, what information, who we're serving, of course, and then we just start disseminating that to volunteers. But we'll typically provide a lot of information in the sign-up itself. So kind of, you know, topics that we know will come up so that you're prepared. And again, you know, as much as we can know specifically what those, if we're doing like a one-on-one session, to know exactly what people want to talk about, because as Rob said, to support the volunteers, that's going to be really a big component of this, because you want people to come back and you don't want them to feel blindsided, or that, you know, they just have no idea, because that's the first thing that's keeping people from doing it in the first place, is that, oh my gosh, they're going to ask me about X and I don't know about X. And so if we can kind of, you know, meet our volunteers where they are and provide that information ahead of time, you know, people will just have a better experience overall.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah, the one thing I would say in terms of how we organize, it's also a function of how we organize ourselves. Not only do we have the pro bono sort of committee chair or co-leads work with the individual volunteers to make sure that they feel comfortable with what they are going to be engaged in. We also ask certain volunteers to serve as like a champion for a particular nonprofit. And so that helps actually provide additional leadership. So there's multiple access to either the champion or to the pro bono director, who can provide that support to the volunteer and make sure that, you know, if there's anything that's needed, whether it's a knowledge gap or if it's a process gap or an information gap, you know, they have resources and someone to go to at any time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll note in terms of managing like the partnership and the program internally for the like maximum reach and impact with our customers, I've learned, I mean, we originally started integrating this financial continuum of care in our programs, financial coaching, volunteer-based coaching, and volunteer-based free tax preparation. But in line with what, you know, what we've been saying today is meet people where they're at when they're ready. We've learned that it's better to promote this early and often, you know, with folks, and not just at that one-time money moment. That's one time. And so we really know that, I mean, as we all know, people's place on that financial continuum of care really shifts from month to month and day to day, let's be honest, depending on their financial lives. And like, it depends on those financial events, like a job loss, a job change, promotion, illness, divorce, losing a loved one. Like, and I feel like COVID-19 has really underscored that. We've learned from our customers, some of our customers are falling off those financial cliffs, right? And aren't ready to talk to a financial planner, or are when it comes to what to do with retirement. But others, we've learned, this is unsurprising, that they, with, you know, expanded unemployment, with the EIP stimulus payments, with the tax refund moment, might have a little cushion to put aside money for the first time in a long time, first time ever, towards financial goals. And so one thing we've really done is a better job integrating this into our year-round communications marketing plan with our customers and with our organizational partners. So I think that really helps. We went from, you know, really integrating at those key program and moments to sort of trickling it throughout the year and trying to like follow a calendar of events to promote this. So I think that's something that's really helped us gain more traction and relevance.
What I would add on to that is, I mean, first, I'm a social worker. My priority is always to make sure everyone feels supported and comfortable, or else I'm not doing my job. And so each prospective volunteer I have an intro phone call with to make sure that they understand the program, all their questions are answered and that we're on the same page. And then I walk through, we do require the pro bono CFP training through either the FFP or our local FPA chapter. We have an Angel Foundation specific training that talks about how a cancer patient's financial outlook is drastically different than a typical patient's financial outlook, and that their insurance, diagnosis, job status can change on the drop of the hat, because that is the unknowns that they're facing right now. So we do have an online CFP toolkit with budgeting tools, other things for them to utilize. We do require all of our clients to fill out the FFP spending plan current financial worksheet, because that helps them take inventory of what they've got and what some of their concerns primarily are. We have some intake questions for financial priorities and concerns that I then send over for the volunteer I match them with, for them to help understand what the direction of their meeting is going to go. And again, like Kristen and Rob were mentioning, to make sure they don't feel blindsided, because no one feels good when that happens. And then when it gets to the point, if anything like Social Security, county resources, community resources come up, I'm always available as a resource, as well as if a client drops off, isn't responding, I'm available to help with re-engagement to hopefully get them back involved in the program.
Yeah, that's great. And that's something important to emphasize, that nonprofits most often than not, usually always, have resources to offer to the financial planner if there's anything that they feel unable to help with. They're really great resources.
Absolutely.
John, have there been any questions that have come in that we should address before wrapping up?
Yeah, so I would turn folks' attention. There was a question from United policyholders, and they are looking for partners, and we have actually funded them here at FFP. And I know that they have done a lot of thoughtful work with chapters about how to support people who are facing natural disasters where there's an insured loss. So I'm gonna, this seems to be a question for the group at large. So I'm going to make sure, I believe the whole group may not be able to see it. So I'm gonna answer it and just put for the group. I want folks to be able to see it because I think it's really a query for folks who may be attending today's event. Let's see, and yeah, and I think the other ones we've addressed. I definitely do want to encourage, though, if there's some nuance to any of the questions, or if we haven't fully answered, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or to Rachel afterwards. We're happy to continue the dialogue and provide any more detail or information, or to refer it to any one of the panelists as well. So I do put that offer out there. Without too much time left, though, Rachel, why don't we turn to Pro Bono Planner Match? And I want to thank the panelists and you, Rachel. I think it was a really rich discussion, and you know, we love hearing, you know, the impact of the work, especially. And I think on our website, we try to have some impact stories. I think we have a lot of stories from all of your different organizations as well, and some of the volunteers, some of the clients, but encourage people to take a look, because it really is, you know, the driving reason that I know we all love this work. So Rachel, back to you before we close.
Yeah, so I hope you all can see, I've shared my screen. This is Pro Bono Planner Match. And as we've mentioned, Pro Bono Planner Match facilitates the connection between financial planners who want to help and nonprofits who have opportunities to reach people in need. As John mentioned, we've had over 1,000 nonprofit and volunteer users since we launched a little over a year ago. This is the homepage. We've tried to make it pretty clean and user-friendly, and you can see that there are two primary user groups, financial planner volunteers and nonprofits. And the nonprofit category really applies to FPA chapters as well, because both nonprofits and FPA chapters are eligible to post opportunities to recruit financial planner volunteers. So here I went to the nonprofit landing page, and you can see we answer a number of questions. What is pro bono financial planning? Why engage CFP professionals? And we also provide some clear steps for how to get started and to help nonprofits and FPA chapters support the engagements. If your nonprofit doesn't yet have a pro bono financial planning or coaching program and you're not sure where to start, we created this flyer with some helpful tips. And I think we'll be able to send a link to this flyer in our email to participants after the webinar. Let's see where else. Oh, so for more information, you can check out our frequently asked questions. You can click this and you see we answer a number of different questions. What kinds of volunteer opportunities can be posted? How many opportunities can I submit? You know, a lot of common questions that we've gotten. You're always welcome to reach out to me or another member of our team if you have any additional questions. Next, I'll show you our training and resources, which we mentioned a few times during this webinar. We provide a number of resources for both nonprofit practitioners and leaders and for volunteer financial planners. We have some workbooks and worksheets that you can use. We have information specific to COVID-19. We have information about our E&O insurance policy that John mentioned during the webinar. And finally, a link to our pro bono financial planning volunteer training. And you can access our training and resources throughout Pro Bono Planner Match and on the Foundation's website as well. Next, I'm going to show you some examples of opportunities that have been posted. Here you can see a post from one of our partners, Family Reach, to recruit volunteers to help cancer patients and families. Angel Foundation also has a listing. Here you can see Prepare and Prosper, Ann's program are recruiting volunteers for their Money Mentors program. Savvy Ladies is another great organization recruiting volunteers for their free financial helpline. Really a range of volunteer opportunities. And I encourage any nonprofit to check out these opportunities. If you don't have a pro bono financial planning program, these opportunities can give you some ideas. And then finally, here's some information about how to sign up. So if you're a nonprofit, you can sign up here. You can feel free to add more than one opportunity if you have different opportunities for volunteers. You can edit an opportunity to be private or shareable only to a certain group that you send the link to. And then finally, once the engagement takes place, both the nonprofit host and the volunteer will receive a form to offer some feedback about the opportunity. That really allows us to learn more, make improvements, understand what drives success, etc. So any questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Any questions about Pro Bono Planner Match? You can feel free to reach out to me if you need some more help walking through it or have any other questions.
I should also, I appreciate the plug, Ann, too, that you put in for Pro Bono Planner Match. And I should also just remind folks that we do have a kind of a Pro Bono 101 training. This is for folks to get oriented in delivering pro bono. And it's very similar. FPA has a version, FFP has a version, and we're actually going to be upgrading this. We got some great input from FPA, from Kristen, and from some other advisors. And so we're going to be updating this in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have a newer version, but it will still have really good information. And then we try to keep a range of tools on the volunteer section of our website, as does FPA on their website. And these are helpful tools. Some of them are basic, you know, it's around budgeting, how to how to help a family with, some of the most rudimentary information. But often we find that advisors are helping folks who don't have a grounding in personal finance at all. They've never taken a class. They really don't know a lot, and they haven't had meaningful access, certainly, to an objective professional advisor. Really, what seems simple can be really life-changing, and bring the right kind of information to people at the right time. And we see this again and again in pro bono. So if you haven't ever done it and you're an advisor watching, we really encourage you to take the training, and we're here to help if ever needed. So, Kristen, anything else on FPA's resources?
Thank you for asking. So we are actually just in the last stages of finalizing the pro bono guide, which will be available to FPA members. Some of it's non-FPA members, but the bulk of it will be basically a step-by-step guide to not only create your own pro bono offering, but then to augment an existing chapter offering. But it'll be set up so that individual volunteers, there's a section for resources, for tools, for various trainings, and we're just going to keep building it out as we receive feedback and questions for other content. But we'll also be uploading new templated PowerPoints too for the workshop. So we have about 6 basic ones that we've got ready. Well, I shouldn't say ready to go. That's what we're finishing up right now. But that'll be there.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we're at time. So again, I just want to thank all of our attendees for joining us today, and all of our panelists and our moderator. It was a great discussion, and we will look forward to seeing you on another one of our webinars soon. Take care.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.